So Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy League. Today we are playing with a donation deck list from E&B. This is a red-white prison deck that has some elements of red prison and some elements of death and taxes kind of mashed together into one shell. Let's see if I can get this all on screen here. I think that'll do it. Yeah, that'll do it. So this deck has fewer explicit lock pieces than Red Prison does, in that like you're not running like Trinispheres and Blood Moons, but a few more soft lock pieces in Revoker and Thalia. The mana base in the Red-White Prison deck the last time that I played it was kind of sketchy, and this player is trying Arkham's Astrolabe to try and smooth it out. There's some weird anti-synergy in this deck list in that, like, you have Astrolabe and Chalice when Chalice is often going on one. You have Thalia, but you also have, like, 4-drop Planeswalkers and Fiery Confluences. This is kind of one of those decks that, like, I just need to try it and see it in action, but I'm, like, super, super skeptical about this one going into it. The sideboard is relatively traditional for Red Prison, minus Leave No Trace, which has Radiance, destroy target enchantment, and each other enchantment that shares a color with it. I'm not really sure what that's for, but maybe we'll find out. Let's just kind of jump into a league and see how it goes. Yes, it is for Enchantress. If we get paired against Enchantress, they're going down. Nope. Hey, Arkin, welcome. Oh yeah, I do need to update Cardboard Live. Thank you. Astrolabe isn't really a colorless card here. I think since I'm chalicing on one, I get rid of that. I love me some Baneslayer Angel. I have registered this in many different Legacy decks. I mean, I don't think the Astrolabe should be in the deck list, just like full stop. My opponent has conceded. I'm going to assume elves, but I could be wrong. So, like, those are the easy boards in, and these are the maybe boards in. Yeah. Seems like if this is elves, my non-creature spells are very important. Just play a crap ton of removal. I don't think I get to play Caracas in this deck. That seems a little loose to me. God, we only have 8 cards that cast these Astrolabes. Yeah, Chandra Awakened Inferno's minus is 3 damage to each non-elemental creature. Cardboard Live should now be updated, although you may need to refresh in order to see the updated list. My hand does nothing. Let's mulligan. My hand is great. Let's keep. We pitching the Lotus Petal here. Well, we have great cards for the matchup. Although I now wish I had the Lotus Petal for Chalice of the Void. I'm not sure how dead we are. We have Caracas, and that like bails us out a lot. My gut here says Chalice. Then Abrade the following turn. If I Abrade the following turn, I get to like Abrade and then maybe also bounce Big Idiot in the same turn. Yeah, that's the punish for my line. Alright, see how bad it is. We milled another Force of Vigor. Now, do I play the Caracas so they can't Hogak on their turn? Or do I not telegraph the Hogak? I think I play the Caracas because I'd like to play my Planeswalker or maybe double spell next turn. Lord Darkview, I don't really think of the Hogak deck as being particularly fast. I think of it as being resilient. That's how I view it anyway. We 2-3'd with Nick Fit. I kind of need to do something about this bridge from below so that I can Pyroclasm. The Hogak still returns a Vengevine. Not the best for me. Take 6 this turn, going to 11. Next turn I can go to 3, kill the bridge from belows, then Pyroclasm the board. Based on my opponent's hand, it would have been better to abrade the Altar of Dementia rather than play the Chalice of the Void, but that kind of is what it is. Interesting, my opponent just played around the Pyroclasm that's in my hand. Ghost? Or good play. Why not Stomp and Pyroclasm there, the bridge from below in the graveyard? Same answer, the bridge from below in the graveyard. I would leave my opponent with 8 power after doing that. No, I don't think this is an impossible play. But it's definitely one that like raises my eyebrow. Alright, we'll call it there. Do I have ley lines? I do. Braids are still fine, Pyroclasms are still fine, ley lines are good, Thalias are questionable. This certainly becomes a little bit worse. a Rebel Master. Bunch of X2s on the other side of the table. Yeah, if Hogak plays blue, it's for Crab and oftentimes like Force of Will and Careful Study. Nope. I don't think turn 1 Rabble Master as the only play that I can make beats this deck. My mana's bad here. Can't cast this and also like play this on turn 1 for Alter. I think at this point I'm mulliganing to Leyline. Keep 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lose on the spot to Force of Vigor. I might need my Batter Skull. And either one of these is going to be bad against Force of Vigor. I might need this Batter Skull to offset this life loss, though, rather than shutting off Alter. I don't play the Petal this turn because if they have Force of Virtue and they were to cast it this turn, they could take the Petal as well as the Chalice, so I just hold that. Yeah, I think I'm going to get the Batter Skull, even though Jitte is interesting. Like, if I play Jitte this turn, or next turn, it's just, like, catastrophic for me if they have the Force of Virtue. Maybe I'm not beating the Force of Virtue anyway, so I should just get the Jitte. But I'm gonna get the Batter Skull. A Baneslayer Angel. That's kind of cool. So I don't need to use the Lotus Petal in this turn cycle. I'm just going to pass the turn. I'm just going to hold it for a turn for Force of Virtue reasons. Sorry, Force of Vigor reasons. Opponent, like, has to have it, right? Do I just bounce my Batter Skull? Probably just bounce the Batter Skull. Pitch the Vengevine. Play Baneslayer. Seems like I might need another body to block so I don't die. I'm in trouble if they find like a bridge from below. First Strike Lifelink doesn't actually go a long way right now because like Carrion Feeder sacrifices whatever blocks. I think I'm dead to that Abrupt Decay. Nope, the Carrion Feeder didn't attack. Alright, so I block that, then my opponent will sacrifice it so I don't gain life. I really wonder if I was dead to like my opponent sacking with Carrion Feeder twice or 3 times and then crashing in this turn. Pretty sure I was. Feels kind of like I'm dead anyway. The only way to guarantee lifelink is to attack. If I play this Revoker, I go to 2. If I play this Revoker and attack, I'm at 7. I block Carrion Feeder and take 8 and die. Well, it's better than dying last turn. No, so I cast Revoker, I go to 2, I block the 2 largest creatures, and then I'm dead to these. Because my opponent will just sacrifice whatever creatures block so that I don't gain life. Like, unless my opponent messes up, I am dead. Oh, I Revoker the Feeder, I see. So now how does that change things? I can go to 7. This turn. Yeah, so now this is defensive. There's a Vengevine in the graveyard. You cast a Bridge from below. Do you also have an Abrupt Decay to put that into your graveyard? Uh, I've got to hang out for a little while longer until I draw a red land, then maybe I can attack. Okay. That's not the red line I'm looking for. Let's math. I can take 3 damage to cast Ajani Vengeant. And then Ajani Vengeant will Lightning Helix, which puts me back at the same life total, essentially. But in order to do that, I need to Baneslayer Angel first. So I Baneslayer Angel to 7, and then I'll return to 7. I'll kill, like, Vengevine. No, probably not Vengevine. I'd probably kill, like, Carrion Feeder. And then I would block with Phyrexian Revoker on Vengevine and try to recover from there. Oh yes, everything is a disaster right now. Like further complicated by the fact that like my opponent has a fetch land available, so like Hedron Crab may give a Bridge from below and throw this all out the window. I have a plateau. Nope. Yeah, this deck list is pretty sketch. That has haste. Also, definitely a little bit unsure about why some things happened the way they did. Seems like my opponent's fetch line was very good in response to my removal spell on their turn to find Bridge from below. It doesn't matter because like my opponent kills me here. The classic Thalia Arkham's Astrolabe, sort of fire and ice hand. I think I keep a hand that allows me to play a Thalia on turn 1. This hand is just awkward. I wonder if my own Thalia is going to hurt me more than my opponent. Opponent might be playing blue-green Omnitel. Could be playing a snow control deck. It would be kind of funny if they show and tell in a Grizzlebrand and I play Baneslayer Angel. The anti-synergy of the deck is very apparent with this hand. I guess it does not matter which one of these I get, because I have Astrolabe for the other. The bot tells me that opponent is currently double queuing. Sorry, the bot tells me my opponent is currently double queuing, so that's probably why they're going a little more slowly than normal. No land there and a discard. Wish I could cast my cool 4-mana cards. I also can't cast this Jitte this turn, in all likelihood. JK, I can. I'm bringing Baneslayer to class. Do I win? Yeah, I win. Cast this, kill that. Both of my creatures attack for 5. We won that one in spite of our deck, not because of our deck. And we're looking at these for sure, and I don't know, maybe the Planeswalkers, maybe the Leave No Trace. Like, Leave No Trace can technically answer a Show and Tell, or, sorry, a Sneak Attack or an Omniscience, technically. uh, Despite the fact that it won us that game, I think our Stoneforge Mystic package is quite bad. If we cut the entire Stoneforge Mystic package, that puts us at 59. I also don't really want Astrolabes in my deck, though. And, like, Fiery Confluence isn't great either. And Mirran Crusader as white-white is kind of awkward. Baneslayer at white-white is also awkward. I don't know, like, Baneslayer potentially walling a Grizzlebrand or swinging for lethal is hilarious to me, so I kind of want to keep it in the deck. I don't know if these Leave No Trace are good enough either. They maybe are. Let's try that. I think the mana base is really questionable for this deck, just generally speaking. Like, it's really trying to hold together red, and white cards via Astrolabe when it maybe, like, just shouldn't be playing red or white cards, or at least one of those two combinations. Like, Karakos not casting an Astrolabe is also a bit rough. Hey. How's your life, chat? Good. Hope it's going well. Alive? Hey man, alive's good. I consider alive pretty darn good for right now. Pandemic and all. Yeah, that's kind of is what it is at this stage of the world, right? Like, I'm kind of like tapping my foot, eager, maybe anxiously waiting to hear about like what our schools are doing in the fall. Like, I, as an individual, cannot imagine the decision to go back being reasonable, but I don't have the, how do I say this in a way that doesn't make me sound like an ass? I have a biology degree, and I am very sensitive to data and statistics and things of that nature, and the same is not necessarily true for the average human being. It's a very strange hand. Right. But the problem there is there's no reasonable person who thinks that school should be in session. And then you have people like Betsy DeVos who say, yes, but only like 0.5% of school children are going to die. And then, like, you say, yes, but that's 14,000 kids. And those aren't just the ones who are going to die. There's going to be a whole bunch more who, like, spread it and cause mass hospitalizations. And a single case causes huge amounts of cascades that impact local economies and blah, 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 blah. Something, something, law of large numbers. Yeah, but probably no need to beat the dead horse there. Like, I have absolute faith in my administrators at a local level to make good decisions, but I don't have that same faith at the state level, and they may be forced to make decisions they don't want to make due to things like funding being withheld, etc. So, um, we'll see. Arizona is particularly bad right now, yes. Yeah, Arizona's bad, Florida's bad. I think I named Grizzlebrand here. Like, I can maybe beat a sneak attack via my Caracas, but I'm not really sure that I can beat the Grizzlebrand drawing 14 cards if it's Show and Tell in and Show and Tell somehow resolves. God damn it, they had the Omniscience. I mean, they needed Omniscience, Emrakul, Show and Tell, Force, Blue card. They had exactly 5 cards. They had exactly the series of 5 cards that beat me. Like, just gotta accept that. Jerry, thank you very much for the bits. So, like, the unfortunate thing is that I showed my opponent that I have Red Elemental Blasts. Whereas that might have come as a nice surprise that would have won me a game in a lot of other situations. This is a 6-card hand without... This is really a 5-card hand that has, like, Chalice into Rabblemaster on turns 2 and 3. I might need to do something on turn 1 in this matchup. Like, if my opponent just has a Show and Tell in hand, this Chalice does nothing. I think I'm gonna mulligan one hand that looks like this. Oh, baby. Yeah, this one's good. Chalice on 1, Thalia on 2. Makes more sense in terms of my mana curve. We'll need another land to play the Sorcerous Spyglass. There's also a world where I play the Spyglass right here and try to shut off a fetch land, because that makes the Thalia in my hand even better. It's a little loose. It opens me up to losing to Soul Land Show and Tell. Which I don't lose to if I just play Thalia. I'm probably losing to a Show and Tell base kill anyway, even if I delay it a turn. I think I'm going to high roll and do this. Well, that's a weird hand. I mean, we'll name the Scalding Tarn, obviously. Can I get away with playing Rabblemaster this turn? It feels like I can probably get away with that. Like, the amount that it increases my clock is so huge. I'm gonna risk this. Maybe I don't. Yeah, maybe I don't. Like, the only way I'm losing next turn is if they rip a fatty off the top, and I can't answer that. Goblin Rabblemaster is also kind of awkward in the face of Grizzlebrand, which is something I wasn't really super thinking about earlier, but is like definitely a concern. Force pitch the Ponder. Okay. I think that my opponent just has, like, is just cycling with this Uro. So I'm going to put in this Goblin Rabblemaster, and if they have a Grizzlebrand, they have a Grizzlebrand. They have an Emrakul. Cool. So that was 2 games in a row where we just kind of got wrecked. 2, 2, 4, 6. I can play this Lotus Petal, sacrifice all my lands, keep Goblin Rabblemaster, then draw exactly Caracas. The Caracas is like absolutely insane if we draw one of them. But otherwise we have no outs. Cool. That was kind of a case of our opponent having everything. Like in game 1, they had the exact 5 cards they needed to beat us. In game 2, we had like delayed their mana, keep them off of their green cards as well. We played the Thalia to play around the top decked fatty. Opponent forced it, then top decked the fatty. That is what it is. I'm gonna refill with water. Be right back. Yeah, this deck just feels too clunky. Like, the white and red cards are hard to cast. Astrolabe's awkward with Chalice. Wasteland is awkward with all of these like 4 CMC cards that you want to cast. Stoneforge activations are kind of awkward with Ancient Tomb. Like you're trying to use Stoneforge to help you stabilize and get in the game, but the Ancient Tombs are like costing you life when you like cast and activate Stoneforge. Just all in all, don't know about this one. Please, opponent, please join. I waited like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Get me in there. Nope. Nope. One, two, three, four, five in some combination. Go back a mountain and a. Go back two fetches. Go back two fetches. I feel like I'm just gonna get wastelanded and die. That's all very awkward. Yeah, I should just be dead here. Like my opponent will like cast a lightning bolt, flashback a lightning bolt, or something of that nature, and I'm just done. Like even just like a ponder or something is pretty bad. This Ancient Tomb is terrible when I'm facing down 5 damage a turn. Cool. Fun and interactive magic. High level plays. I'll probably like board in this entire pile of cards. Maybe I'm staying a Chalice deck and not playing Red Elemental Blast for Oko. I don't know. Like, answering Oko is so important. Like, look at this curve. It's, like, we have 21 lands, and we're so heavy. I think I need to keep the Revokers as an answer to Oko. But I don't really feel great about any of this. Like, maybe I'm so not favored that I'm supposed to just try to mise wins with Chalice of the Void and hope they don't have 2 drops in Oko. Like, here's this whole, like, Chalice Thalia. Or, sorry, this whole, like, Thalia plus non-creature spell problem again. I'm just trading this because my hand is incredibly awkward. Speaking of incredibly awkward. Multiple 4-drops with Athalia in play. Cool. That that's a card that I don't beat. So, like, if it weren't for that True Name Nemesis, we could have, like, blocked the Tarmogoyf, bounced the Tarmogoyf, try to Ajani, and keep the Tarmogoyf tapped. But, like, the True Name Nemesis just kind of, like, throws all of those sorts of lines out of the window. And we have literal no answers to a resolved True Name Nemesis in the 75. Not happening. Yeah. I played this red-white prison deck. I think this is the 3rd time that this user has donated for it. And they're putting in work and trying to adjust it and like make it work, but I think just at a fundamental level, the prison decks don't tend to operate very well when they're more than one color, because the colorless lands are kind of like a second color in the first place. Chalice is a fine redraw there. Especially in the face of what is likely to be a combo deck. Looks like a combo deck. The the ever heated rivalry of Ant and TES coming out in chat once again. Pretty likely to win this one at this point. My opponent didn't really get a lot of setup time to start playing around something like a Chalice. I can clock my opponent like ever so slightly faster by playing a Rabble Master, but the life gain from the Batter Skull is like absolutely relevant. So we're gonna play towards that. That's not opponent making a mistake in all likelihood. So their opponent probably trying to clear their hand for threshold reasons, perhaps, or for an Infernal Tutor, and you can see them continuing to do that here. Yeah, I used to like Ant quite a bit as a deck. Played, I wouldn't really call it a decent amount, but like some amount of that deck. But I think TES is like very much the better deck now. Do I use my Lotus Petal or my Karakas here? Probably just my Lotus Petal this turn. This is pretty gross. The worst part is that like I'm gonna win this match and then have to play out the 5th round. All right, so we got that one pretty handily. Ley lines are fine. Pyroclasm for goblins are fine, and then we get into like the questionable territory of like how much of this sort of stuff do I actually want? Abrades for Wishclaw Talismans will sometimes do things. Like the opponent can play them out and then pass the turn, and that's a somewhat likely scenario around like Thalia-based stuff, but it's not the best. It's probably better than some of the other cards that are in the deck, though. Maybe I don't bring in 3, but I probably bring in some of these. I probably don't want to Jete. Baneslayer Angel is probably a bit slow. Baron Crusader is hard to cast. And then do kind of what else I've been doing in a lot of these rounds of like just boarding out the Astrolabes when in doubt. Bone Crusher Giant, also not great. It's just like a 4/3 that attacks. Yeah, the Pyroclasm isn't. The Pyroclasm frequently is. Oh, you mean the Reb? Yeah, I think Reb's better than Bone Crusher Giant. It's just like awkward to bring this in when a lot of times I'm mulling to a Chalice. But like it's not like this card is great either. Generalist, thank you very much for following. Hope you're enjoying the content. This is a turn 1 Chalice of the Void into a turn 2 Rabblemaster, or alternatively a turn 1 Rabblemaster and Chalice on 0. This is very easily going to be a keep. It becomes more tempting to Chalice on 0 if I draw a red land, so they can guarantee Rabblemaster into Rabblemaster. That's a very absurd clock. If I don't do that, if I don't draw a red land, I probably just like Chalice on 1, 100%. Okay, yeah, so I didn't draw the red land. Let's just go Tomb, Petal, Chalice on 1. Could just play Planeswalker, but I think that's worse than Goblin Rebelmaster. Mana is rough in this deck. Really? Just... Oh, no, you knew about that card from Ponder. Okay. No red land, but like Thalia is a fine pickup. What did opponent keep that did not discard spell me on turn 1 and did not have an answer to Chalice of a Void? I don't understand. They began the game with 7 cards in hand as well. Like, what did that hand look like that that degree of risk was warranted? Like, were they 1 card away from a turn 2 and then just like whiffed between draw step and ponder? And second draw step as well? Man, I need those 50 Planeswalker points. Like, I am on one of the largest losing streaks I've ever been on. I am like out of Planeswalker points. Like the brew deck lists and the donation deck lists are like just not competitive right now. Um, I mean, Lord Darku, I'm gonna reevaluate my content production when I get like through my current queue and like figure out what I want to be doing. Because I don't think my current model is really working anymore. Like I'm very much. Yeah, well, that's a discussion for another day. Let's just play out this last round. But I'll be in touch with you if that's something that I want to do. I know where to find you. Keep. I think I'm gonna try to shut off this Reclaimer and then play the Chalice. My opponent tutoring once is pretty bad for me. We're playing against Depths, in case anyone isn't familiar with that, based on this opening. Yep, very glad I did not let my opponent tutor once. Do I attempt to trade here? Trade's probably greedy. I'd probably just try to like kill it with a Planeswalker later. I think I cast the Chalice of the Void before playing my Wasteland. The only way this is punishing is if they have a Spirit Guide. God damn it. Or if they have double Thespian Stage and Riftstone Portal. Alright, I lost that one because I didn't play the Wasteland because I was trying to bait out the first crop rotation for Thespian Stage and then hold this up for the rest of the game. That one's a little frustrating. Like if they only have single crop rotation and I play the Wasteland, then they like sacrifice the Dark Depths and just like get a mana producing land and play a reasonable game of Magic. No, it is not common. Very much not common. Yeah, Strifo, totally agree. I think I want a couple of braids for Elish Reclaimers early. I don't think I'm going to win this match, especially after losing game one. Like I lack the Blood Moon, Magus of the Moon type cards that give you real legs in this matchup. At least I have a Caracas in this opening hand. Yeah, I literally never would play around that line. Wow, is my opponent actually like more traditional lands? And they just so happened to play a nurturing peatland. That's frustrating, and I'm kind of boarded poorly now. Uh, yeah, that probably means it's correct to play the Stoneforge here now. It mitigates the power of the Rishadenport on the other side of the table a little bit. Alright, I now have to hold up a Caracas the rest of the game or I die. And life's awkward. Because this Rishadenport is just going to beat me in like 2 turns. You should have tapped down this. Alright, at least opponent didn't have land 6, so I'm not dead this turn unless they also have a Spirit Guide or they do the same crap as before. Am I playing Chalice this turn or do I want this sword in play? Kinda want this sword in play. It's like very good if I rip an Ancient Tomb. Cool. Could have played a land there. Yeah, we're dead. I would have played my land last turn, I could have played this Rabble Master here. That mistake's costly. I'm dead to a crop rotation for the whole Riftstone portal thing at any time. Maybe I need to shut off that out. And then, like, try to get this Planeswalker in play and win that way. Like, we're dead. I don't know, maybe, like, playing the Rabble Master this turn wouldn't have been smart because of the whole Punishing Fire engine. We're dead this turn cycle, our Karakas gets ported down, and then my opponent makes a giant goblin, or not goblin, giant tentacle monster, and we die. We're still at 20, we never got a Batterskull hit. Yep. Cool, cool. Alright, so this deck list was bad. They can't all be good, and honestly I think very few of them can be good in Legacy right now. Trying to do off the beaten path things in Legacy right now just feels so punishing. Like, this deck doesn't really have advantages over a finely tuned Red Prison deck, I don't think. Like, Thalia is okay early, but most of the rest of the cards that are here I don't think are particularly potent. And you're not, like, with things like Thorns or Trinispheres or Blood Moons or whatever, like, the Red Prison deck on its own has access to other taxation effects that it's not playing here, so I don't think it's correct to go into another color for Thalia. And it's certainly not correct to go into it for Stoneforge Mystic. Like, the life gain here was often not even offsetting the damage from the Ancient Tombs, because we, maybe activate the Ancient Tombs 3-ish times before we got, like, a Batterskull into play or something like that. So, like, I just don't think what we were doing was viable here. I think the Leave No Trace in the sideboard is kind of wonky. This might be better than Death and Taxes, but, like, even that's kind of questionable, and I think D&T is also pretty bad. So, like, while the donation is appreciated, it's not good. Alright, I think that's gonna call it here for today. Next time, I'll be playing an Applejacks deck. We've had a donation for that in the queue for quite some time, and that's up at the top now. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'm going to go ahead and call it a day and send you over to Julian.